Hello, welcome. Hello and welcome to Superconscious Sundays, episode 7. We are going to be talking today about how to harness the infinite being of light that you are, how to really utilize this within your human vessel. We're going to have a conversation about light. We're going to talk about the chakra system in a way that maybe you haven't heard of before, in more of a telescopic, prismatic sort of way. And then we're going to be having an awesome dragon invocation at the end to really start to strengthen your golden dragon light body, to strengthen your energetic field so that you can hold more light with less ascension symptoms, with less of those symptoms of like, oh my gosh, my body is like fucked up right now because I've been channeling so much, or the whole waves that happen where you're just killing it. You're so high, and then you crash down. This has to do with being able to harness, right? You need to harness the power that you're opening yourself up to by allowing, doing all your meditations, doing all of your astral projections, astral travels, doing the inner work, the shadow integrations. All of that is so that you can hold more light. And today's live stream is all about how you actually hold that light, how you start to be the light instead of embodying the light, right? This is the switching of a frame that a lot of us had to be given. We had to be given this frame of embodiment. And the next step after embodiment is actual beingness. So actually being the light instead of embodying the light. We're going to talk about the differences in that as well. So when you jump on, say hi. I love to see all of your beautiful faces. Thank you for your patience. I know that normally we do these at 10 a.m. I have been taking care of a friend all week long who is, dealing with his internal demons, which is really good. And I needed the extra couple of hours, so I appreciate that. So let's go ahead and start the way we always do by lighting our candle, setting the intention for clear communication throughout time and space, live and on the replay, and to just have a whole lot of fucking fun while we talk about some really high subjects, high frequency subjects such as the Ascension and dragons and being the infinite light source that is going to help with changing the entire planet. So go ahead and light our incense. This is a yellow rose incense, so calling in those rose codes. The highest frequency naturally occurring here on the planet comes through the rose. That Christ consciousness that we always talk about comes through the rose. So we'll just do a nice infinity sign, bringing all polarities into the singularity, creating a sacred time in this container to have a beautiful open discussion about all that is needed to be said for this transmission. And again, a whole lot of fun. So let's see. Light. Light is one of those words. Well, let's go back. I've talked about for about a year now the idea of being a lighthouse. So as that, I want to really there's a lot of new followers here, so I want to make sure that we all have this really solid context right now. A lighthouse stands, right? Huge, tall structure on a cliff, which is even bigger structure that's connected to the earth through the ocean waves. And the lighthouse has a big ass fucking light in the middle of it, and then it rotates, right? The lighthouse cannot come down to the sailors, right? The job of the lighthouse is for safe passage, but the lighthouse can't actually come down there. Can't scuba dive down to the sailors and hold their hand and get them to shore. The whole idea of the lighthouse is that it beams and is its job to just stand as the light, to stand as the guide, and to hope that the sailors down below are able to get their shit together and get into the harbor safely, okay? This is the actual job of light workers, right? So many light workers in the world think that their job is to save the world, okay? They have a savior complex. They have this belief that they have these healing gifts that they have to either damn near give away for free. So there are these freaking starving artists, but they're healers, or they are charging and they're still doing it from this complex of well, if you're unconscious still, then you need to be woken up and you need to be saved, and it's my job to go save you, and I'm going to teach you about your chakras and about your energy pillar and all this stuff, but it's me doing it for you. That is a very old Piscean way of thinking of things. It's a very it's an old age, right? We're now entered into the age of Aquarius. We're now in a state of, let me teach you. Let me be the guiding light for you. Not because I need to save you, not because you're being victimized, but because you have been taught a certain way and you've had this idea for a long time, maybe more than just this lifetime, but other lifetimes. And it's my job as a light worker to be the light, to be the example, to be the change you want to see in the world, right? And that starts with realizing that there really are no victims. We are here all dreaming this dream. We are all here having woken up, not ever going to sleep, right? None of us, we all think about, oh, dying is like going to sleep and never waking up. But we don't ever really think about the fact that we all woke up after never going to sleep. And that's what we call this lifetime. And playing with this far out dream, this infinite dream that you're God that forgot that you're God, and you're here physically manifested in this form, but you're still divine creation incarnated, and you can lucid dream your way through this dream. It's what the law of attraction is all about. The manifestation, the mindset work that people teach is a way for you to wake up, right? It's called the awakening, right? Like people say they're woke AF. That's what they mean. It's awakening, waking up to the remembering that you are divinity manifested in physical form, here to create your own unique frequency, to sing your own song, to create your own story, to live the most delicious adventure that you could dream of, because that's what you're doing right now. So really owning that everything that's happening in your life is because you wanted it, even though you might not have been conscious of it. And I know that can be really hard when you've had really traumatic things happen in your life that really were really painful, and you're like, I would never choose this. When you can take responsibility, when you can claim the authority of who you truly are as the divine incarnate in physical form, you then can release the energy that's being trapped in the old stories. And with that, you have more access to this free energy that you can then harness and turn into whatever you want. So I talk about all the time that there's no such thing as a negative emotion. I don't talk about low vibe emotions or high vibe emotions. I just talk about emotion in general, energy in motion. I can have tons of energy locked away in a hurt, in a trauma, in a story. And when I'm finally able to claim authority and responsibility over that and blast what happened with pure love, then I'm able to release that energy and I feel at peace. I'm able to find that peace inside. It's not that I discount it. It's not that I erase it from my history. It's that when I think about these things that happened in my past, there's no longer they don't have a hook in me. They're not draining my energy anymore. There's no density around it. It's just something that happened. And because there's no density, there's no tie, I can choose a different outcome. Okay. Let me know if this is landing, if this is all making sense for you. I need to open up a new tab on Facebook because I can't see any of your comments, y'all. It happens. So with being the light and being able to move through this energy, we can get to a point where we really truly understand that we are always in communication with our divinity. Other people call it their higher self. That's awesome. That works. But it's truly coming into this remembering, this knowledge, this inner knowing of yourself as the guru already, as the student, as the teacher, all wrapped into one. And harnessing this energy, right? The title of this is Harnessing the Infinite Being of Light. What this really is truly coming to this space of when things happen in your life that maybe were not expected, that you were like, I thought that I was done with this adventure. I thought that I had chosen this adventure before and that I was over it. That you can now get to a place where when that happens, you just laugh. You literally are so fucking amused at the adventure that you have written for yourself. Okay. And once you get to that place, this really deep knowing of who you are and what you are and how you serve, which is truly, easily, simply to be a light, to be a guiding light, to live a life that inspires others, that you become the inspired action for somebody else, that you become the version that people think about when they're trying to improve their lives. Again, not because you need the credit, not because you need to be famed, right? That's the egotistical way. That's where a lot of light workers are trapped, where a lot of grid workers or energy workers are like, it's my job to save you. Let me tell you about all the shit that's going on so I can save you. I am not here to save you. I'm here to ask you some questions, give you a new perspective, offer you a few different lenses to look through your life from, and it's still your choice whether or not you want to follow any of my guidance, right? We are all here being choosing. Are we choosing to live heaven on earth, or are we choosing to live hell on earth? Unfortunately, in this day and age, the majority of humans are still choosing to live hell on earth. That has just been how things have been for the last couple thousand years. And it's hard to move through that, right? And especially when there's all these false prophets, all these people saying that they've got the next quick fix, instead of being honest. The honest truth of, we're all just a bunch of fucking narcissists walking around dreaming a dream that seemed like a really cool adventure that's got all sorts of drama and all sorts of crazy and all sorts of twists and turns that no one could ever expect. And that I can give you perspective, but that is only my perspective. I don't have a quick fix. I don't have a band-aid. I don't have a magic pill. I don't even have a special formula for you. This is simply the way that I've been guided to show up as a leader, as a super conscious leader, and to teach the way of the dragon. Okay, what is the way of the dragon? Dragons are large. The etymological breakdown is a large serpent. The word serpent then breaks down to clear light. Okay, so a dragon is a large, clear light. A fucking lighthouse, right? Big, magical, ancient, unfuckwithable, impenetrable, very able to work with the elements, able to really like stretch the bounds and limitations of what we think is possible. Giant thing, can fly, can also dive deep into the waters, hold its breath, all these things, right? So the dragon energy really though is that Kundalini energy, the life force energy, the knowing that you are light incarnated. You are light that has been condensed. We're all just energy and matter, right? A couple of weeks ago I had a whole live stream about E equals MC squared. Energy and matter just shift forms, right? You cannot destroy energy or matter. You can't create energy or matter. They just switch between their forms. So as what seems like a physical body, when we zoom in, hey, sorry, my dogs are like, they're being a little extra right now. Do we need to put you out? Go on, go lay down. Go chew your bones. Go lay down. Today's also the 1 year anniversary of when I got Shadow. Feeling pretty good about it. He's having a good time. And then Bosco's here too. His birthday's tomorrow. We're having a big old party here. You boys good? Okay, sorry. So when you realize this light idea, right? You hear it all the time. Unity consciousness. We're all one. We're all inside source. We're all here connected, interconnected within this. But the way that I like to look at it is that while yes, we're all one. While yes, we're all just reflections of each other. While yes, I'm actually sitting in the void having a conversation with myself right now, and so are you. We chose this planet, especially Earth, right? There's all these other planets. There's all these other star systems. You could be an Andromedan. You could be a Lyran, a Pleiadian, Sirius, Star Nation, Orion. All of these other star nations we haven't. There's some beings that I haven't talked to that they're like, Earth doesn't even know where we are yet. Like, you haven't even reached how far out we are in the cosmos. So just know, like, everything always shows up to me as dragons, but these are like the deep blue galactic dragons that are like, so we don't really have a planet name that you can do the same thing that you have with the Octorians and all of that. The earth game is really simple. It's carbon based right now. It's shifting to crystalline base, which means that you have to have more light coming into your body to activate the DNA. Last week we talked all about the 144,000, the strands of DNA, all of that. If you want to watch last week's episode to get caught up there about the DNA activations. But we're moving right now from carbon based to crystalline based. We also have it's duality. That's the game. That is the earth game, the duality of it, to experience pain so you can experience the same level of pleasure. Hot, cold, like everything's on its pole of each other, right? The north and the south pole, if you were to cut it right here, you still have a north and south pole. It's just a little bit shorter, right? And that pendulum swing of back and forth, back and forth. And the game that we're playing is to slow the pendulum, to cut the pole, so that you're not going all the way down. You're not like having a great, 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 great day, like, oh my God, I'm killing it, I'm on top of the world, and then whoosh, all the way back down. Or like everything sucks, everything sucks, and then you get really high for like a second, and then you come back down. You want to shorten that distance, and you want to keep it, in the more joyful, the vibrations that attract more joy, more love, more success, more wealth, more happiness, all of those things, instead of staying in the vibrations that attract more lack and more grief and more sorrow and more pain, right? That's the law of attraction right there. Is the vibration that you're putting out, you're going to receive a reflection back into it, because your brain, the energy that your brain receives is the exact same energy that your brain puts out. So if you're putting out negative vibrations, then you're going to receive negative vibration. It's going to show up in your world as negative. So if you're putting out positive vibrations, then what's reflected back to you is the positive. So that, again, your world can look like it's crumbling. Someone else turns on, comes into your life, and they're like, oh shit, it's like season 2, episode 3 of the dramatic life of Karen. And, they're having a laugh about it. And you can either be like, oh my God, my life is a fucking daytime soap opera and blah, 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 and just sink and like, oh, it sucks and it's so heavy and so hard. Or you could be like, yeah, damn, Hollywood should hire my higher self because she is one damn good writer. Like, I wasn't expecting this twist. I wasn't expecting this turn. Because you know that you're infinite, right? A lot of people get to this point of realizing that nothing really matters, that there are no stakes. What's nice about knowing that there are no stakes in this game, because you are infinite, that you are right now in a dream, that you went to sleep and you woke up and don't remember ever going to sleep, the same way you're going to go to sleep and not wake up at the end of this. You're going to wake up. You're just going to wake up somewhat. Maybe you're going to be a serious Star Nation dude next time. Maybe you're going to be an Octurian next time. But this time around, you're dreaming the dream in which you are a human who has forgotten that you're actually divine, that you actually are in control of this whole game, that you can lucid dream your way through this and just manifest whatever you want. The whole point of this game, the Earth game, is to forget the veil of illusion. And then Earth herself is going through her own dream, and she's going through her own upgrades and her own changes. And then we incarnate on this planet at different times to learn whatever lesson we need. But we're infinite. We get to a point where we realize we're infinite, and this is where the nihilism can set in, right? Where we're literally just like, fuck it, like nothing matters. I've been doing the same thing for eternity. I'll still be doing the same thing for eternity. Time and space, I'll get all jumbly. Next time you're going to be wearing a blue hat, and next time I'm going to be have long hair. But we're still doing this over and over and over. And you can get really, really fucking nihilistic about it when you realize that nothing really matters. And this, again, where a lot of light workers reach burnout, right? They're just like, okay, I tried to save the world, because they were trying to save the world, and then they get burnt out trying to save the world. They're like a lighthouse that keeps unhooking herself and like getting down into the water and like trying to save. I know that that's fucking crazy analogy, but that's what's happening. Like, the job of a light worker and a grid worker and a super conscious leader is not to go out, and I'm not saying you don't go out and do work, right? Doesn't mean that you don't go out into your community and help, and you don't show up for your clients, and you don't do, no. I'm saying that as you do that, You just be the light. You don't need to preach. You don't need to be telling everyone about every download that you've had. You don't need to be trying to save the world through your healing. You don't need to say like, oh, but my life changed so much, so I have to turn around and do all of this for all these other people. No, your job is simply to be the light, to know who you are as an aspect of the divine, what you are, divinity manifested in form, physical form, and how you serve, which is by singing your own song or radiate your own frequency or living your own adventure. Full out, big, bright, beautiful, unshameable, knowing that, like, yeah, you can brag because you're a fucking badass, so you one sexy motherfucker. Like, you can do that, and there's not repercussions, right? There are no stakes. So many people are worried about looking like they think that it's a not enough thing. Like, I'm not good enough, I'm not brave enough, I'm not smart enough. It's really the other thing. It's mostly this fear of being too big, too bright, too beautiful, too smart, too wonderful, too helpful. So we don't want, we've been raised to believe that it's bad to brag. So instead we spend all this time in the game. I call it the whose life is worse game. It's socially acceptable to go to a party and bitch about your husbands the whole time, and then like, oh, you think that's bad, look at this. Oh, you think that's bad, look at that. That's socially acceptable. But for me to show up at a party and be like, yeah, so my husband ate me out for the last 30 minutes before I got here, I'm so orgasmed out of my mind, I can't believe it, someone passed the Chardonnay, everyone would be like, "Oh, fuck off. Like, poor you." Like, that's like, right? They would get angry. Or I just killed it at my photo shoot. Or, oh my God, I just had a $50,000 week. Whatever it is that you want to brag about that you're so stoked on, you can't brag. Bragging is bad. Being big and bright and bold is bad. But being the Debbie Downer, bringing everyone down and being like, "Oh yeah, I just found out that my husband's been cheating on me and we have all this debt and blah blah." That's cool. Like, that's totally acceptable. The fuck, right? So that's part of the shift, right? Part of the global consciousness shift is shifting out of this, like, it's okay to talk shit and like spouse shame or like bitch about your boss or just play whose life is worse all the time. But if you try to play the whose life is better, and this gets better, like the more that you hang out with more people who are affluent and you are around people that have a lot to brag about, that have a lot of good going on in their life, your whose life is worse game turns into whose life is amazing games. But there's a lot less people playing that game because there's very few people that actually know how to hold and harness the light without getting distracted, without getting money hungry, without getting power hungry, without getting without supernovaing, right? Like, they think that they're going crazy, they think that they need to get medicated, they're losing all of their family, all their friends, no one understands them. They're like, oh my God, the Ascension, I thought that everyone was going to be on board, and now they're not ready to be alone. The thing about being alone, it gives you a chance to truly belong to yourself. The beings on this planet that love to be alone are gods and wild beasts, dragons, right? It's you truly belong to yourself. You don't fit in anywhere. You know this. You might be a chameleon. You might be able to like shapeshift and go and be with humans and like interact with them. But deep down, you know that you're God. You know deep down that you're an infinite being of light here manifested in form playing a game. So the question really is, what game do you want to play? Do you want to play a game where you keep falling into second or last place, or do you want to be in first place all the time? And not because you're a perfectionist, not because it has to be the best, but because you're like, fuck, if I'm here living this dream, then I'm going to dream the best dream that I can think of at all, and continue to just show up in that big, bright, beautiful dragon way. Okay. So how do we harness this? How do we actually do this now that we're at a point where we're all on the same page here? It's through the chakra pillars. Okay, so we've talked about the chakras before. A lot of people understand the chakras, and we get to a point where maybe some people, I used to think about the chakras as globes, right? I knew that they were front and back. I knew that they weren't just like flat discs even though I saw them always portrayed as flat. I knew that they were dimensional, that they had density, right? And they had a very globular shape to me. And when I would do my activations, I would just imagine the globe opening all the way, like a three-dimensional flower, almost like a rose or something that could open in all dimensions, but it was still like kind of globular in many ways. Boys, seriously, there's 2 bones in here. They each got an antler bone, and for some reason they're like only wanting to eat the one. Hold on, I'll be right back. This one is yours. No. Sorry, guys. Thanks for your patience. Had to just separate them. Um. Oh my gosh. So you can imagine the chakras in this globular way, but then they kind of don't get connected. And then when you do your Kundalini yoga, you do your Kundalini awakening. We did this a couple of weeks ago, a really strong meditation on it. You can start interweaving them, right? You have the Kundalini energy, the dormant serpentine creation, destruction energy sitting at the base of your spine. And as you work with your chakras, now you've lit them all up, you can then weave them together with these threads of the Kundalini, crisscrossing at each one of the chakras and then resting up at the pituitary gland right up here. That's another way of doing it. But again, it keeps it very in your body, right? There's no energy coming in and there's no energy going out. It's very closed container sort of stuff. So harnessing the light is now opening that chakra pillar up in both directions and then actually being able to focus. So instead of thinking of the chakras anymore as globes or discs or even flowers, start thinking them as lenses, okay? So you have to align your chakras first, so all the energy coming in from source can come in through the top of your head, through the crown chakra, and line up through all the chakras like this. This is why posture is so important. When you're just sitting here like this all the time, scrunched up, you got your crown and your third eye are way up here, and you got your throat tucked back and your heart's tucked back and your solar plexus is back, but then your root is like curled in. You're not aligned here. So the first thing you do is physically align your body so that your head and your ears and your shoulders and your hips and your knee, everything's nice and straight and nice and tall. Oh my gosh, hold on. Get oh my gosh. So that's the first thing. So then you can at least have the energy come through and then it's shooting out of the base of your spine down into Gaia. The first thing that a lot of people are having issues with right now in the Ascension and why they have the symptoms, why my #1 selling course on my website is still Ascension, Accelerated Ascension Bootcamp, is because you're not opening this channel all the way. You're bringing in codes from source and you're trying to keep it all in your body and you're like on fucking overload because more almost pretty much 1% or less of the downloads that you're getting into your body once you open up. Again, once you're awakening, once you're doing your meditations, once you're doing your shadow integration. And this energy is able to flow through you because you don't have the density around your old stories anymore. You have more space in your body to let more light in and allow for that crystalline DNA activation to occur. That you're gonna start getting used like a my husband's in backup software, okay? Like he works for a backup software company, and he's always explaining that if one lane of the server is clogged. They've got all these secondary lanes, right? And they're trying to just like pump the information through. They don't care if it takes 17 different fucking servers all running at 20%. At least they're still getting all of the information in versus trying to get it all into one and like waiting because then it gets backlogged, right? It's the same thing with Gaia. Gaia's tapped into source through, yes, the sun, but also through us, through the highly conscious beings that are on this planet. So we're receiving the information, but we're conduiting it through our bodies so that we can send it to her. She is dealing with 8 billion people, and only about a million or so, couple million, are at any level where they're even meditating, and even less are at this level. Like, if you're watching this, you're one of these people, but that are actually at a level where they're using their energy in a way that's changing and shifting the vibration of global consciousness. This is why we are going to eventually reach a critical mass. It's why you're starting to see in the popular culture more and more things coming up. Maybe you've been meditating and doing law of attraction work for 20 years, and now all of a sudden you're noticing that it's like in pop songs and things like that. It's because, yeah, eventually everyone on the whole planet is going to wake up and remember that they're God manifested in form playing a game. And it'll be back to the age of Atlantis, and it'll be back to the ways that it was in ancient Egypt. But we're not there yet, and we're not anywhere fucking close to there yet. Mostly because those of us who are awake are not utilizing the ability of being awake to the fullest potential, which is by becoming the antenna for the light and letting the energy come through us and conduiting it through our human body, and only choosing to hold on to the 1% of the downloads that are for our soul's growth. All of the rest of it is for Gaia's growth, right? I tell my clients all the time that when you're meditating, when you're getting these downloads, I'll have clients be like, oh my gosh, in a week, they'll be like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, you can't have it. Like, you can't be pregnant with 9 different babies at the same time, especially in the ones that aren't twin, like aren't 9 tuplets, right? Like, they're trying to birth too many things at once. There are too many ideas coming in at once. And I know that I don't like to use the word too many very often, but what I mean is they're starting to be this backlog, right? They are getting so much information and so much downloads that they're like, I don't know which one to do. They don't realize that maybe that idea to go open an art studio actually has nothing to do with them, and that they've got an artist in the same building as them, and it's actually a download for them. But that person doesn't meditate. That person doesn't have access to it from up here. So it needs to be pulled in through someone who is conscious and then is now more easily accessible, right? Does this make sense? Like, you need to be very discerning about, I know what my mission is, right? My mission is to heal the world through frequencies. Frequencies show up in a lot of different ways: light frequencies, sound frequencies, all sorts of different ways, right? And I have different projects that I work on that are still about frequency, holding the frequency in your body, the frequency of sound, all of these different things. So when you know your mission, when you start getting downloads in your body, if all of a sudden I got an idea about like how to create a video game, I'd probably be like, that's not for me, right? That one's not mine. So the way that you can really harness, right, like get this, is that you set an intention. I tell you once, I'll tell you a million times. Hear me now, believe me later. An intention is something that you claim to be right now, that already is done. Not one day will be, not once wish upon a star sort of thing, but is right now. I claim it. I intend to this, right? So you set the intention that the only downloads that you are going to become consciously aware of are the ones that are for your soul's growth, the ones that are for your choose your own adventure book. And all of the rest of it is welcome to come through your super conscious channels and be sent to whomever wherever it needs to be. Again, in alignment for the highest good of all beings, for the liberations of this planet from the illusion of suffering, right? You set the clear boundaries, right? You don't want to just be like backlogging for the AI, right? You don't want to be used for that. So you set very clear boundaries. You're a channel. You're a channel for divinity. So when you're a channel, you need to make sure there's no holes, that there's no leaks anywhere, right? So you do that by setting the intention. So now you go to meditate, you stand up. I do most of my meditation standing because then I really do feel like a really tall, big channel. I use my feet as like suction cups and like send everything down through there. And then I can pull energy up through Gaia the same way. You guys see me post on my stories pretty much every damn day, me walking around somewhere barefoot and looking at the sun, right? This is why I do that. The sun comes in through the top of my head. I have a shaved head. Energy comes through my body, and then it's shot through my chakra pillars because I keep in my alignment, and then I can push it down into Gaia. And then anything that Gaia needs to tell me, I can receive it, send it back up. So it's a two-way, it's like a two-way radio situation, right? But the only channel that I ever am like listening to is the things that I need to know from my direct path as someone who's here to liberate the planet, right? Create a world where every man, woman, child has access to clean water, healthy food, education, shelter, medicine, to end this, like, to end things like fucking religion and bullshit, politic parties and all of those sorts of structures that will need to get burned down, right? Like Dragon, right? We know that shit's burning to the ground, but we're already building the new thing so that when more of the population realizes that shit's burning to the ground, they have somewhere to go. Because there's a lot of people on this planet that are not here to be harbingers of change, right? They're not here to be lighthouses. They're the ones that are in the fucking boats. They're the ones that need to be guided. Their adventure that they've chosen is to be programmed. So let's give them a good fucking program to listen to. Again, you're welcome to listen to me, or you can listen to someone else. Everyone is still on this earth game wanting to feel like get to that resonance. Bliss, prosperity, joy, love, success, wealth, health, happiness, and unlimited access to it. That doesn't mean we don't have bad days. That doesn't mean that we don't get sad. That doesn't mean that we're high vibes only. It means that when we get to those places where we're like, holy shit, did not expect this turn to occur in my melodrama, you can laugh at it within a couple of minutes or an hour, right? You can feel so sad and be able to have gratitude that you are incarnated in a physical vessel that has sadness. On other planets, they don't have sadness, guys. They don't have emotions. That's why you're human. That is why you're human. To feel, to have a corporeal body that is carbon based, that has feelings, that has this gangula in the back of your eyes called your brain, that is a nervous system connected within you so that you can feel. Feelings are awesome. Being ragingly angry, I've created some of the best things in my life because I was mad, but I was able to harness the anger and focus it, right? So let's go back to our pillar. So you want to make sure that you're aligned, right? Even where you're in the middle of a temper tantrum, maybe you're not even trying to talk to source, right? You're like, nope, I'm not open for business right now. And now you are back in your own body. You're pissed off. Something really, like, someone give me an example. I'm having a hard time. Like, you're really, really mad about something. What is something that you guys are mad about right now? Because it's so much easier when I have an example. I will give you a second. And I'll read these comments in the meantime. Hello, everyone. Beautiful. So let's say you're mad. What could you be mad about? What's a common thing for the light work? Oh, you're just pissed off that nobody gets it. Okay, we'll go here. We'll go the just like big grand scale. People don't fucking get it. You're just like so tired. You're like, I do all of the Reiki and all of the healings and all of this all day long. And I'm walking around and I'm doing the grid work and I do my candle magic and I do my new moon intentions. I do my full moon intentions. I do all the fucking work and nobody gets it and things aren't shifting and I'm just ready for it to be over. Blah, blah, blah. I'm ready for the ascension. Like, I'm ready for this to be normal, right? The way that you harness that anger that you're feeling, like you're just so fucking frustrated, you're so angry and so bitter, is the first thing you do is still remember what I just said, that you're here having this experience for a reason. So let yourself feel it. Allow yourself to get pissed. Not to fall into old patterns, but to actually, like, instead of trying to fix it, how can you allow it to move through you? Right? I have a playlist on my Spotify that's like Ragers. It's the name of it. So when I'm really mad, I can turn it on and I can do this practice called swamping, where you're pretty much acting like you're in the middle of like a mosh pit, but you're not with anyone. You can also use pillows and like punch the pillows, take towels and whip them on the ground, right? Anything. Like, I go out in nature sometimes and I just like start throwing rocks and kicking shit and like grabbing branches and smacking them on trees and just breaking stuff, right? Super healthy way to move through a very normal human emotion called anger, right? And because I'm doing it in a healthy way, I'm allowing myself to break down the density around anger. And then I know on the inside of it is a delicious little nugget of truth or energy or something that I can then like put in my body and hold on for later, right? Or lots of people avoid having really awkward conversations, right? So you go and you meditate, you're like trying to journal, you're trying to be like, okay, well, this situation's happening, so it has to be a reflection of the internal situation that's going on with me. And you're journaling and you're meditating and you're doing all the personal work, but all you actually really need to do is go have a fucking awkward as fuck conversation, right? Like a really really hard conversation that you're really like, I would rather do anything. I'd rather jump out of an airplane. I'd rather give plasma for the next 6 years of my life every single day. I don't want to have this conversation. But on the other side of that awkward conversation, the one that could be hurtful, the one that's going to, is the healing, right? And again, is the little nugget. You have all this density you have to work through. So if you can imagine, like, every negative situation, every hard situation, every like low vibe situation, again, I'm using all these words, fucking air quoting, has like a light in the middle of it, right? Okay, there's a candle, you can see, has like a light in it. But it's like this. It's like covered. And instead of a hat, it's not like, you can't just go like this. You have to like dig your way through it, and you have to like figure out how to work your way. Imagine this was like tied onto my hand like this, right? And on the inside of this hard conversation, on the inside of this angry moment, on the inside of this bawling my eyes out grief, is this nugget of light, is this delicious packet of energy that I can then utilize later, right? So the reason why so many people think that I live an extremely dramatic life and they're like, holy shit, it's season 2, episode 3, is because I'm not afraid of hard conversations. I'm not afraid of experiencing life in a really big way that might feel really scary to other people, because I've learned over the years, the more I can conquer my fear, the more I'm able to create beautiful things. And I'm also giving other people permission, unconsciously for the most part, but permission to do the same thing. As I liberate myself from my own fears, other people are being liberated, especially since I do speak about it and I talk about it with you guys, because that's what my job is. But I have plenty of clients where they're never going to tell their stories on Instagram lives or Facebook lives, right? They're never going to be publishing their stories in books. Their jobs, they know, is to have the experiences themselves and just keep it and to be their own light. Hello. I have a message and I can't read it. Screaming into a pillow. Yeah, exactly. Screaming into a pillow with purpose totally helps. It helps to scream. Actually, a lot of people don't realize it, where our throat chakras are so locked up. So then, so let's go back to the harnessing, right? So you have your freak out, you scream into your pillow, you go throw rocks, you're sad, you cry in the bathtub, you eat your chocolate, you do whatever you have to do to get through it. And then at the end of it, you feel this like release, because you're not stifling your energy anymore. You're not like You know, the whole like not bragging, not being too, don't be too emotional, don't be too this. You just let it through. You then have more space. Again, there's not density, there's not heaviness weighing you down. There's more space for more light. So you're harnessing the light, you're focusing the light downwards through your body. You're keeping your posture as much as possible, as often as possible. This is why I'm such a big advocate for body work while you're also going through this process, especially an amazing body worker who understands, like a Rolfer or someone who was trained as almost a physical therapist, right? Like I went to physical therapy school. I never got my degree. I should have. Structural alignment, myofascial release. I'm trying to think of the other things. So Rolfing, structural alignment, structural integration, myofascial release, neuromuscular unwinding. If you find a massage therapist and they know or do any of those things, that's the type of person you want. You don't want like a spa Swedish, even if it's a deep tissue. You're looking for someone who really understands the structure of the body to help you realign, who's willing to do psoas, deep core work, who's willing to do pelvic floor work for you, who's willing to work underneath your shoulder blades or way up here in your neck, right? That level of work is going to help you so that you can actually hold the posture better. The more you can hold your posture and not kink yourself out of alignment physically, the physical is the most dense. So if your physical body is out of alignment, everything is already else is already out of alignment. Your emotions are out of alignment, your mental state is out of alignment, your spiritual state is out of alignment, and you can see it in your posture. So sit up right now, all of you. If you're on your phone, prop it up somewhere or hold it. Going like this actually adds about like 300 pounds of pressure to your neck. It's really fucking bad. It also forces you to start getting a double chin. So it seems annoying, but if you're texting, look like you're doing it by like taking a picture. It's going to annoy other people, but who gives a fuck? It's better for your neck, okay? So sit up straight, nice and tall. You're harnessing the energy this way. You're doing your meditations. You're going out into the sunlight. You're doing all of this. So now you've got all the energy, right? Like we've done the harnessing part. Let's focus it. So remember how we have lenses? What we can do is we can, like a prism, right? A prism can have a beam of light shot into it and then it will shoot it out and it becomes a rainbow, right? Or the opposite, where a rainbow is sent into the prism and it shoots it out as a light, right? So we have a rainbow. It's called our chakra systems. We're receiving the energy, we're holding the energy within us. And then what we can do is very much like a telescope, you can angle your beams so that you're now blasting the world with this heart energy. You're blasting the world with the truth. You're blasting the vision, the ultimate vision of what you want to see and experience in your life out into the world. You're blasting infinite knowledge into the world. You're blasting willpower and fire and change into the world. You're blasting creativity into the world. You're blasting security into the world. So you're receiving it, but as it's passing through, because you know that you only actually need to hold on to about 1% of all the stuff that's going through your body. Instead of holding, you're able to blast it out and radiate. Now you're turning into this lighthouse, right? Because you're blasting light out and people are going to be attracted to you. Again, this is where you set up your solid boundaries. You're like, okay, yes, moth to a flame, but what happened to moths when they go to a flame? They fucking die. So I don't like that analogy. I don't want to be a flame that the moths die in. And I'm not available for energy vampires, right? I'm tapped into source. I'm not vampiring off of anything. Source and Gaia have me on enough crack cocaine naturally, right? I'm not doing any drugs to keep me stimulated, and yet I can go like the Energizer Bunny. That's why I tell every people all the time, I'm not available for energy vampires because I'm already giving free energy away all the time because I'm a fucking generator for free energy, right? And then eventually we're going to have actual free energy and like, Tesla sort of stuff that we'll have available. That happens as more of us show up like this. Big, brave, bold, beautiful, brilliant, right? Conduits of energy. We are conduits. We are channels for divinity, physicalized divinity out here on this planet playing a fucking game that has no stakes. And our only job is to be us. Be you. Be weird. Weird means to weave your own fate. Be weird. Be bright. Be all of it, right? So good. Okay, so let's recoup. 1, you can harness the energy from your human experience, from your past stories, by going through and releasing the heaviness. This is where the trauma work and the healing. Like, you notice that I'm not talking negatively about any of it. I'm explaining the layers of the ascension, right? A lot of people are stuck in just being completely they're just conscious, right? They're just like, they have their bodies and it does some things. They're not really aware. They're just walking through the world. They're just walking with their heads hung low. Sky's a shade of gray sort of situation, right? That'd be like the majority of the planet. Then there's light workers who have gone on a healing journey, who have figured out that they've got gifts, that who understand that they're conscious. Might not even be light workers. Everyone who's teaching about manifestation, the law of attraction, all of those people, Bob Proctors of the world, all of that sort of stuff. But they're still here because they're talking about embodying something, or I'm talking about being light, right? They're still very much like, I'm a human and I'm in this form and blah, 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 blah. Like, maybe I'm energy and I'm sending energy through my brain, but there's still this separation between God and human. Then you get to this point where you're like, oh my goodness, I am a god. And if you're in the Eastern world, like the Hindus, if you tell someone that you're God, they're going to be like, fucking figured it out. Versus here on the West, it's blasphemy for the most part. It's a lot harder to like own it. If you were raised in Western traditions, you've got that culture about you, about God the Father and all this stuff. So you come into this knowing, I know who I am. I'm an aspect of the divine. I know what I am. I'm the divine manifested in form. I know how I serve. I sing my own song. I radiate my own frequency. I am choosing my own story, and I am having a damn good time doing it. You have those 3 on lock, then you can start playing with the practices that got you there, right? You can allow for the energy to come through from source, light yourself up, send the information down through Gaia, making sure that you're holding on to only the aspects of those downloads that are for your soul's highest growth and for the liberations of all beings from the illusion of suffering, really getting into that alignment. And then you can start blasting it out, because you know that you are light. You know that every time you walk into a supermarket, you're changing the frequency of that supermarket. You don't have to say anything. You're just there. And because you're there and the energy is shifting, the other people in the supermarket, totally not consciously, are also being shifted on a DNA level, just from you existing, right? Just from you walking around doing your thing, just by being you as divinity incarnate. Okay? Yes. So let's do a dragon invocation to solidify this. So dragon invocations are one of my beautiful gifts that I love to give the world. You can actually receive your own dragon invocation. That's custom made track that's been curated just for you, that's like produced. It has binaural beats and theta waves and all of the, like a full custom soundtrack of your higher self singing to your current self to get you in alignment for divine soul mission work. It's a beautiful offer that I give. I obviously am not in a studio and don't have all of my things right now with me. So these group invocations, I've been doing them for about 18 months now on lives here and there. So if you haven't been here before, it's a light language channeled activation, meaning that you're not going to understand. I'm not going to speak it in English. Sometimes English phrases might come out. Other phrases from other countries might come out. But I turn off my conscious brain and I just allow the transmission to come through. Sometimes my hands start moving because I'm weaving codes of consciousness through my hands. Especially as a body worker, my hand chakras are super, super activated. So your eyes will be closed, but if you like open your eyes, you notice I'm doing anything like this, it's still just a part of the transmission. The intention for this dragon invocation is to strengthen your energy field so that you can start holding more light without having the physical symptoms, right? So without having the migraines, the stomach aches, all of this stuff, right? Ascension symptoms. You hear them as up-leveling symptoms or ascension symptoms, the dizziness, the ringing in the ears, all this stuff. That's because you're still like rooted in carbon and you're not able to hold the light. Or if you start having like the kind of feeling like you're kind of going a little schizo, that's another symptom that happens a lot. Or just like really exhausted, you have a really high day followed by a low day. So this invocation is meant to help solidify the container of your channel so that you can really truly harness this energy without supernovaing in your body, without your physical body being taxed by more light running through it, okay, to create that equilibrium so you can be a conduit, so you can be a lighthouse for change, so you can be the change you want to see in the world by being a light, okay, by being a source of light here, of Christ light, Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness literally meaning just the aspect of the divine that's manifested in form. Okay? So go ahead. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Go ahead again. Deep breath in. This time reach up above you. And clap. And exhale. Bringing that through. One more time. Reach up. Clap. And exhale. And shake it out. Move it around. And then as you're ready, just close your eyes. You can either place your hands on your heart or leave them in your lap or prayer pose, whatever feels comfortable for you. If you want to stand up during this, you're welcome to. I'm going to remain seated. If you are seated, please make sure you move the flesh out from underneath your booty, get in meditative pose, right? You could also lay down if you like. I would suggest standing with good posture or sitting with your feet flat on the ground, really nice and straight, because this is one of those activations that's going to, you want your feet on the ground. So probably don't lay down, put your feet on the ground, stand up, or just put your feet on the ground, don't cross your legs. We're going to be opening that channel from source to Gaia through the feet chakra. We're going to be aligning all of these chakras up with each other, making sure that the lenses are nice and polished and shined up, and then having the human body really being able to hold and harness that energy so that you can then go create your amazing things, right? You don't want to just get the downloads in birth. You want to be able to hold on to it and really curate and craft your offerings for this world so that when they're given, they're received really well. And that's because they're well executed, right? They're not just oh, I had this download and then I whipped together a PDF. You're really actually curating the message that you want to give the world, because you know that it's not meant to save, it's meant to change. Okay? So again, just a nice deep breath. Wherever you're at, close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and exhale again. Calling in our guides, beings of light, ancestors, elementals, devas, fairies, dragons, archangels, ascended masters, interstellar beings, inner earth beings, anyone that's part of our spiritual entourage for those who are live and on the replay, to help us right now in strengthening our energetic field so that we can be the conduit of light in a more sustainable and holistic way. He no manivone abato, he beto nevani asoteko, hambariande ove ateno, he moto voso pati, he monopale como nani oma. He momotave no govena dreko, he oni apote, he oni vato mete omotamos. He nave no vetani omegasa, he no ve no bene gomenave toa. Hey mata vegaseo, hey me do vegaseo, no vate no potegea, hey no votenea. Habatakiano vutovo lekeano patia. He sopoto bekana tamingo vea. Bueno vete do. No veneno. Ano vese no vocane a te borea, he no barate a me no vocasea. Asatave moto vocane motana, he no vase no vocale tomiatana. Abariate come ane o botenea, Harabarea no vecaneo, sotano veneo no dreco pateaneo. E non avete a me o non vate a satove colopone a teo ma in a vaca stateo avate la pore a manavego shinakeo he te ke a patone pate anara pate o me a he do parape o me navigane o he no vate o me a he vatame o me na Paneon beovea yam ram yam lam om am in bueno vedo metaveano in om am Yam Lam Ram Ham Vito Vadrego Amen. Resting here for just a moment, feeling that energy from source coming through your body, lighting up every single one of your chakras as you're blasting that same color light out through each chakra, all the way down through your feet into Gaia, into the heart of Gaia, sending her any messages. At this point, setting that intention that you're willing to be a conduit for this ascension, holding on consciously to only those pieces that are meant for your soul's highest growth, opening yourself up to be a channel for the liberation of all beings from the illusion of suffering, to choosing heaven on earth, to living an existence of unlimited health, wealth, happiness, bliss, love, joy, success. Allowing yourself to feel all that there is to feel while being human, while also remembering the truth of who you are as an aspect of the divine, what you are as the divine manifested in form, and how you serve by singing your own song and radiating your own unique frequency on your own adventure in your own dream that you are creating right now. No need to save the world, just being the change you want to see within it. Thanking our guides, our ancestors, the dragons, the elementals, everyone who has been here, knowing they are never far away, that we can always call upon them. Thanking them for holding this space for us. And when you're ready, coming back into your body, coming back into the space, slowly blinking your eyes open, rubbing your hands together. Sometimes that the energy can get intense. Maybe your feet are a little hot. You'll just want to rub those back and forth. Whew, awesome, guys. Thank you so much. That was such a solid invocation. I love it. Again, if that's something you're interested in, I do create those individually. They're the bespoke dragon invocations that include a session with me, and then I go into the studio and my producer and I create a customized track for you that is, you know, to the nines. It's so much fun. I love it. Again, healing the world through frequency. So of course, music is a part of that. Um, Anything coming up? Nothing's coming up this week. There is a full moon next week. So remember, inside Superconscious Leaders Facebook group, we do new moon and full moon rituals every single month. And then on the off weeks, then we have an inside conversation. We have a beautiful live stream. And then, of course, join me every week here on Sundays for Superconscious Sundays. And lots of in-person events coming up in Salt Lake City. Look out for those. I'm going to be starting to travel again soon. So, yay, luckily restrictions are lifting. So exciting. Um, you're so welcome, Liz. You're so welcome. Make sure you share this live for any of your friends that you might think that they would benefit. Welcome to come back at any time to come and get this delicious invocation. It will be left on my IGTV and my Facebook. It will also be uploaded to the YouTube channel. So we'll always be there for you. And if you're interested, like how you can get help with the Ascension symptoms at all, on my website, superconsciousleaders.com. The Accelerated Ascension Bootcamp was created specifically for helping you really be able to be in this body and do this work, this beautiful, beautiful work of being a human on this planet at this time during the age that's dawning of the new golden age. It's such a beautiful, delicious time to be alive right now, and I'm so grateful to be here and to be able to share with you every single week. It's just beautiful. Life is gorgeous and amazing, and I'm so grateful to be a part of yours. So thanks for tuning in today, guys. We'll see you next time. Love you.